the way this name is pronounced. If I mispronounced your name, I apologize, but I believe your name is pronounced Urban. Anyway, the question here is, okay, I'm not sure if this has to do with religion. The City of London has always been influential world events. Okay, basically, why is the City of London a separate thing from, London, first of all? But also, they cite a bunch of interesting things. They sort of saw a video on it that has them asking a lot of general questions. For instance, the Queen herself cannot even enter the City of London without an alderman, apparently, with her. But the Queen actually is utilizing the King's office, by the way. The Queen is not on her own authority a monarch. She is in the office of the King, actually. And by extension, is then allowed, the King is not even allowed, or the office of the King is not even allowed in the City of London without an alderman with her. I don't know precisely how to explain this, but the City of London and its role, I guess, in the religious structure, in the political structure, in the separation, the symbology of it, in general, I think is something that you could probably tackle for a little while here. I do also mention that I've done shows on what's adjacent to the City of London, which is rather interesting as well, because there has been a lot of massive ritualization of the land there that we call Great Britain or England or whatever. But meanwhile, the City of London is separate from London, and it's actually a separate entity unto itself. Maybe you could sort of explain that. And
there is in London, if you go to England, go to the city that everyone knows is London, there is in London a square, I think it's a square mile, 1 square mile within the greater city of London. And it is called, the term that is given to that 1 mile square is referred to as, quote, the city, end quote. And people in London know what that means. So when you say, if you're living in London and you're going to go into the banking area where all the international banks are, you're getting up and you're going into the city of London. And so there are 2 cities in England. One is called London, which is the big London, the greater London. That's the city everybody in the world knows and thinks of. And then there's a 1 mile square what's inside the city of London that's called the city, period. The city. And the city is a 1 mile square of all the international banks of the world. All the banks of the world have their home offices and their major connections in within that 1 mile square in London. So all of the banking going around the world is going through the city of London, that 1 mile square. It has nothing whatsoever to do with the greater city of London where the people live. That has nothing to do with the greater city of London. The people have nothing to do with that 1 mile square. It's a privately owned by the people who own that 1 mile square of banks are referred to as the Crown. So the Queen of England has nothing whatsoever to do with the Crown. There are colonies around the world that England owns, and England, they're called English colonies. But there are certain places in the world that England has nothing to do with. They're referred to as Crown colonies because there is no connection whatsoever between the English Queen, the Queen of England, and the Crown. The word Crown is referring to a very powerful secret society of Freemasons. They're called Knights Templar Freemasonic Order. They're a Freemasonic order out of England. They're referred to in England by people who are on the inside. They refer to the secret society of Freemasons as the Crown. And they own everything, period, secret society of Freemasons in England and bowed down on her knees and asked permission to open up Parliament, to open up the government of England. She must go on her knees and go before the Lord Mayor of London, the 1 mile square. And she must ask permission to open up the government for the year in England. And where does she go on her knees? She goes to the Crown. She goes to that secret society of Freemasons in England that's referred to as the British Grand Lodge, the British International World Illuminati Grand Lodge, that controls not just that 1 mile square of banks, but the banks themselves throughout the world are actually put there by the Crown. It has nothing to do with the royal family. The royal family are useless and worthless. The people who run England run the world, and they're referred to as the Crown. The Crown. The Crown is a secret society of Freemasons. And that Crown colonies and that Crown banking is also the people who own and operate what we call the Federal Reserve System in America. The British Crown Freemasonic Order, the secret society of Freemasons out of England, run America. They run the Federal Reserve. They print your money. They print your dollar bills. They print and organize your banks. And ultimately, not only your banks, but your money. And your money also, they control your religions, your churches, your synagogues. Your whole entire life is ruled by the people, the secret societies called the Knights Templars, who were the people who run the 1 mile square in London called the Crown. And so that's why you're having all the horrible stuff going on, because there's nothing you can do about your situation in America. You can cry about it, you can complain about it, you can see all the corruption, but there's nothing you can do about it, because the secret societies of Freemasons in England, by name, are referred to as the Knights Templars. The Knights Templars control the entire inhabited earth and the flow of money. That's why it's called the 1 mile square. It belongs to the Crown, and they call themselves the city of London. And that's why, incidentally, in the Bible, in the book of Revelation, and the Bible talks about when the demons who run this world say, we are a city. It says in Revelation, I am a city, and I have a kingdom over the kings of the earth. Here in the city, this is what the Bible says, the city has a kingdom over the kings of the earth, period. Not just over London, not just over Europe. No, the kingdom of the city actually controls the kings of this world. It's all about money and political power that comes from the creation of money. The Federal Reserve, America on its knees and dying because of the Federal Reserve, owned and operated by the city of Freemasons in England. You need to wake up and get a life and learn for the first time how your government actually works and who actually owns your country called the United States. Because we are no longer the United States of America. We no longer use that term legally in law today. We are referred to as the United States Corporation. We are a privately owned company, a subsidiary of a far larger and far more ancient corporation called the Vatican. Under the Vatican, there is a corporation called the City. It's a Masonic order out of London that controls the banking institutions of this world, and one of them is the Federal Reserve in Washington, D.C. So Americans need to wake up and find out that they are nothing more than our products. They are the offspring of the governments that own them. The United States Corporation is no longer the United States of America. We're not united. But the United States Corporation is a company. Owns you, and it owns your body, it owns your family, it owns your children, it owns your wife, your husband. If we're human, the United States owns your body. Your body as a security on the New York Stock Exchange. Why? Because Rome, when it dominated Europe, operated in Europe and operated in England out of the city of York, England. That's where Caesar ruled England from, was from York. But today we have a New York. And New York is the center for the New World Order. The United Nations is all English, British, international money. Is an incredible betrayal of the human race by the Knights Templars in London. We need to wake up and find out who these people really are, this Red Lodge of England, and how it dominates America's political, economic, and its human life. We are nothing more than slaves to an ancient secret society out of London. You need to wake up and find out who people are and how it really works, and why the people of England are on their knees. The Queen of England is on her knees to the city of London, a 1 mile square of international banks. It's an incredible story. My God, we need to wake up and find out where we are in the stream of time and where we're going as a country.
Right.
That's why we have all the hatred going on for our president.
Well, there you go. But as you mentioned, the stream of time, it is appropriate to bring up two quick questions here, which are brought up based on what you were just saying. First of all, is the question about. Let's see. Okay. Right. Was maritime admiralty law started in the city of London? Is a question. The other question is, does this explain why it is they describe the legal society in England and the United States in some places as the Crown Temple Bar Association?
Precisely. The Crown is the secret society of Freemasons. They are referred to, quote, as the Crown, end quote. So when you talk about the Crown, you're talking about a Masonic order called the British Grand Lodge of Freemasons. And it's got nothing to do with the Holy Mother, Queen Mom, and Prince Charles, and all that inbred, goofy family of Nazis and fascists and SS, Gestapo Germans. They call the royalty of England. They're nothing but a bunch of German Nazis. But when you use the term Crown, you're talking about the British Grand Lodge of World Freemasons that controls international banking fraternities around the world, period. Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade and Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark was telling you all about the Crown. You need to go back and watch Spielberg and George Lucas's movies about the Crown. They're telling you that there's a secret society running our world who are printing your money, who have given you your governments, they've given you your churches, your synagogues. And when Jews would tell you in the Bible about Gog and Magog, that's a scripture in the Bible talks about Gog and Magog. Supposedly that's a term used for evil influences in the world, Gog and Magog. Gog and Magog, to look it up in the dictionary, are two little midget gods who guard the crown. It's inside the 1 mile square are symbols and statues of Gog and Magog. It's a symbolism of secret societies and the demonic depravity and demonism which is going on inside that 1 mile square, run by the Knights Templars who were running behind the scenes and financing Adolf Hitler, financing the Communist Party, financing world revolution. With the international banks of the world, is an incredible story that you need to wake up and start doing some research on the British Crown and what does it mean. Crown does not mean anything with royalty.